Now, I already know there's going to be a lot of people in the comments like, oh, I've heard the London Underground is great, or the Lothian buses in Edinburgh, or the Manchester Transit. Yes, bigger cities have great public transport, okay? However, this is in a town of about 90,000 people, so it's not big enough to have any decent public transport. I do just want to say I can drive. Like, I passed my test with 2 minors like over a year ago. But I just think buying my own car is a waste of money since I literally never go out with anyone. Like, you think I would be sharing my stories with the internet if I had friends to tell them to? Hell no. I'm just kidding, but you get the point. Like, I only leave the house to commute to university, so I basically just settle on insurance on my parents' cars, but they obviously need their cars to do their own work. So I have to opt for taking public transport home, which presents its own challenges. Ubers are one option, but I'm sorry, alright? I am not paying them ridiculous prices, like £9 to £12 per ride. That's more than £1 per mile. I don't live in London. I can't afford that. I don't make money. You're taking the piss. I guess trains are another option, but they just cost way too much in the UK. And even so, a train takes me to the middle of the city, and I live on the outskirts of the city. So how am I getting home from there then? So I typically opt for the bus instead, which costs £3 at max. It's way cheaper than the other options, but it used to be £2, but this country's Lord and Saviour Keir Starmer and his Labour government increased the fare at the start of this year, where I then get off up near my nan's house and then go spend a couple of hours with her watching stuff like The Chase. Oh my god, but people humiliate themselves so much on that show. It's absolutely great, but I love it anyway. Now, the bus route I have to take is travelling to a completely different town about 6 miles north, which is not that far in the grand scheme of things, but my god does this journey take a while, because it just so happens that buses typically avoid main roads to maintain schedule reliability and efficiency by utilising, cringe spelling by the way, local streets for more predictable traffic patterns and to avoid traffic congestion and delays. What? So these buses go through smaller towns between them 6 miles instead of going through the main roads, down the tiniest side streets ever where they have to pull in every 5 seconds to let a car pass. So it honestly takes longer than using main roads, which is pretty ironic. So basically, when I get on the bus, I know I'm there for at least an hour until I get to my stop at least. And that's not even taking into account me walking 15 minutes from the university to the bus stop, as that's the closest one where the bus goes that I need to get. I think this is because most buses are typically localised to the local area, so most of them just go around this town, but I'm in a unique stance where I need to travel to a different town. Typically, I just do the hour bus ride by just staring out windows until I eventually arrive at my stop. So best believe I'm fuming when I can't get a window seat. I'm the type of person that if I listen to music on these bus rides, I'll just get so into it that I'll just miss my stop and just lose entire concentration of where I am. And I can't even use my phone to play games anyway since I get travel sick looking down. So I kind of just have to sit there and look out the window for an hour until I reach my destination. Now, I should probably get on with this bad experience I had. You know, it's bad when it starts at the university before I even leave to go walk to the bus. Now, I more or less have the bus times memorised of when they get there, but just in case I can zoom into bus stops on Google Maps and click the bus icons and select the appropriate bus to know what time roughly when it will arrive. Now, my bus arrives every 20 minutes at that stop I usually get typically, so when the previous bus arrives at the bus stop, I leave the university, so I can walk 15 minutes to the bus stop and get there 5 minutes early in case the bus happens to be a bit early, and even if the bus arrives late, I'm not standing around in the cold for too long. It just so happens that I realise I need my teacher to sign these 2 consent forms for a project I'm going to carry out for an assignment due the following Monday, and it's the last day I'm there this week. It's the final time I'll see my teacher before the assignment's due. Oh well, it shouldn't take too long, right? It took 10 whole minutes. These forms are like 1 page each on Microsoft Word, by the way. They're not that long, and after reading through them for 10 minutes, there was only 1 improvement to be made. How does it take that long to read them? Like, huh? So now I think you know where this is going. I'm now no longer on track after waiting 10 minutes to get to the bus, but I'm just thinking, but I can walk quick enough there to get there in 10 minutes. I can get there in time. I'm not sitting in this stuffy classroom for another 10 minutes after I just did waiting for them forms. You must be joking. So I leave 10 minutes before the bus is due to arrive, and I do it all in 11 minutes I walk there, which I don't think is too bad. It's better than I usually do. Although I was told my effort was moderate by the fitness app. Maybe this part was my fault after all. Anyway, I get to the bus stop. I don't see the bus. It had already gone. Guess I'll stand around in the cold for a bit longer. You know that copium mindset where it's just like, it is what it is. Yeah, I'll just continue. I'll make it. Yeah, that was me. I was in shambles, alright? I had missed my bus. I have to stand around in the freezing cold February weather for longer. I was still a bit annoyed at my teacher for taking so long, but I appreciated the thorough check through to make sure the forms were good enough. They were still only 1 page each though. So while I'm out in the cold, I check Google Maps to see what the next time the bus arrives, as you know, I have nothing better to do out there. No way am I making conversation with any of these people here. Like, there's no way any of these boomers out here play video games with bus passes, and talking to the kids, that'll just lead me to be arrested for some kind of false accusation. I'll just stick to being alone. So I check Google Maps, and then Google Maps tells me that the next bus has been delayed by 25 minutes. What? So I'm then forced to stand out in the cold winter months of February, which is the lowest average temperature of all the months in England, by the way, for the next 3/4 of an hour, where I'm already running behind schedule thanks to them stupid forms I should have got done earlier. I've never hated myself more, honestly. I keep just thinking, buy a car, you cheapskate. And then, of course, it starts to rain, so I go to the canopy out at this Tesco, which is right outside the bus stop, and I see this young girl vaping, who looks no older than 16, by the way, coming over and assumingly wants to take shelter from the rain as well, so I move to the side and lean against the wall so she can come and as well, and she does. The immediate smell of the vape was utterly vile. Like, you can smell those things from a mile away. I know the nicotine gets people addicted to that stuff, but how can you even try it in the first place? The smell is absolutely atrocious. Why do so many people try it? It'll never make sense to me. Then it's as if she think I didn't notice her presence somehow by not leaning against the wall for her to make room for her to come under this canopy with me. And then she just decided to vape right where the wind proceeds to blow all the smoke from it directly into my face. At this point, I was just like, this day cannot get any worse. I haven't even gotten my ride yet, for God's sake. God, I hate public transport. For the record, she did apologise and moved out from the canopy afterwards and just kind of guiltily stood in the rain. I guess the addiction is too much to the point where she could not even put it away for a few seconds. I didn't even say anything to her as I felt no remorse whatsoever for her. I kind of just gave her this disgusting look to signify, you're not making my lungs black as well, keep it to yourself. Anyway, now I'm assuming it's got to be all uphill from here, right? Like, it's got to be, please. Like, what did I do to deserve this? At the time, I'm still beating myself up over not getting the form signed earlier in the day and thinking about I could have just got my teacher to sign the form through email when I got home. But at the same time, I felt at ease knowing that I could have just gone home tonight and relaxed with the assignment basically completed anyway. Like, I'd already finished the assignment, I just needed these 2 forms signed. Like, you darn idiot, man. If you just left on time and got that first bus that you missed, you wouldn't even be standing out in the rain right now, you moron. But yeah, anyway, after a long 45-minute wait, the bus finally arrives saying the destination to my city. I go on, pay, get a seat, like, no instant, like, wow, my card wasn't declined from the bank account for being hacked or something. God, I just assumed it was all downhill at this point. Like, I was just like, surely it could not get any worse. I'm honestly surprised there wasn't more incidents during the time I was waiting. I'm surprised there was just the one. Honestly, during the start of the bus ride, I was seriously victimizing myself. Like, is this God's way of proving his existence to an atheist like me? Is he going to strike the bus with lightning? Like, although I get travel sick, I was out here researching key events to do with God striking people with lightning in the Bible, but eventually found that the Bible doesn't explicitly detail such events, which was like gigantic sigh of relief for me. Like, my God, like, the start of the bus journey went quite normal, surprisingly. Like, we went through the tiny town, we had to stop every 5 seconds, then it happens. It was too good to be true. Like, so the bus went like over this steep hill, and on the other side of the hill was this just massive roadhead closed sign, assumingly to make way for the construction of the geniusness of the project that is HS2, which for non-British viewers a failed project came up with in 2009 and started construction somehow in 2012. I still have no idea how it went ahead. Its purpose was to bridge the north-south divide in the UK, which in simple terms just means south rich, thank you London, north poor. They were going to do this by making this railway that only stopped the big cities, allowing more people to get to London, bringing more money from London to the north, since they kind of just realised, oh, we've based everything in London, so the rest of the country has nothing. This was all for the railway to only end up going to Birmingham and nowhere in the north in the end, so it basically just went from south to south and is essentially just now another railway from Birmingham to London, but except with no stops in between. So that failure of a project closed the road, which our normal bus route takes, meaning we had to take a detour. Just so happened that detour took over 20 minutes. Main reason being that the detour also had temporary traffic lights on it, which is great, and they were 4-way as well, and everyone got a 2-minute go for some reason. So, you know, I hope you're picking up on the fact that we had to wait there a while. All I could think during this time was, please let me go home. Please. Oh, you thought it ended there. Oh no, it keeps going. Now, me on my toes after everything that happened so far today is looking at the screen at the front where it shows the different stops, notices that the final destination has been like changed to a destination earlier than it usually is, and that destination just so happens to be before the destination that I am going to get off at. And my first thought was like, surely they wouldn't change the final destination of the bus after everyone has already paid to get on this one, thinking it goes into the town. That's honestly just scamming at that point. Like, you're making the UK government look innocent, for God's sake. So about 5 minutes after that, we get to the stop, and the bus driver just comes up and announces to everyone, on a full bus, by the way, bearing in mind no one got off at this new final destination. The bus is packed. The bus driver comes up and he just says, "Go get on this other one arriving in a few minutes if you want to go into the town." And in my head, I'm just like, "Huh?" So everyone's forced to get off this bus and get on this other one, where we all have to pay an extra £3 to get on this one, by the way, which is the most outrageous part of it. I hung back a bit to see if everyone else was repaying to get on the bus, and they were, just with no complaints at all, which I thought was a bit odd. Like, I'd been using the bus for over a year at this point, and I'd never seen anything like this. Like, everyone had literally just been scammed and no one was saying anything about it. Like, I checked my account and I was charged twice, the same as I assume everyone else was. Like, to manually change the final destination of a bus after making me wait in the rain for 45 minutes, because 2 buses were sent out at the same time, assumingly to meet a large amount of people waiting to then make everyone pay twice as much after they realised the demand wasn't what they thought it was. Like, bearing in mind, this new bus, when it arrived, it looked empty for obvious reasons, as our bus was picking up all the people as it was ahead. But if that's the case, why not continue the bus that already has the majority of the people on it and send the one that has no people on it back? Not the other way around. Like, I get this bus was ahead, but I wouldn't have cared to wait a few minutes for the 2 people or so on that bus to get on this bus. Like, it was so obvious they did it the other way around just to get more money out of people who were likely already feeling the effects of the new £3 bus fare that came into place at the start of the year. Like I couldn't believe it. My parents told me to make a complaint about the whole situation, but I just honestly thought that sounded like a lot of work. So I just went against it, being like, "Oh, it's only £3, it's fine, I'll survive." But deep down, I was furious. But I honestly just had no idea how to make a complaint. So I get on this new bus barely finding a seat. As I mentioned, I hung back to let others get better seats if they wanted to, and just honestly just assess the whole situation. Like, I was just like, what is happening today? The rest of the trip thankfully goes as intended, and after about an hour of bus ride in total, I arrive at my destination, and after a brief walk in the rain, I get to my nan and granddad and proceed to explain the whole situation to them. My nan tried to offer me £3 to make up for what happened, which I of course rejected. Like, that wasn't my intention. I just wanted to express my frustration with everything that happened. Like, I'm sure I've done that in this video as well, but I love her for being so thoughtful, and the trip in the end was worth it to see them still. This story in particular is why I've come to just hate public transport more than anything. But until I get my own car, I guess I don't have an alternative way of getting home.
Yeah, we said we let it go.